Hey, this is Rory Poplion, assistant at Delgado CC, and you're rocking with the FanView podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the FanView podcast. Y'all already know what it is. Like I'm that boy Fred.
G Sports back at it again.
Coach Hurricane Hen back at it once
And
again.
y'all already know what it is, man. We got another featured guest on the show. Coach Rory Poplion. That's what I pronounce it correct?
Yeah, it's Poplion.
Poplion.
It's
Put
good.
some respect on the line.
You must be
man.
Creole.
A little bit.
You got a little something in you.
Yeah, a little
The
something.
way it's spelled and when it's pronounced is different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It got some wiggles in there.
Yeah. My dude Rory in the building, man. Appreciate you coming on the FanView podcast, man. Been knowing you for a long time since the Southeastern days, man. Always been real passionate about the game of basketball.
Right.
Really, really well known in the city of New Orleans and in Louisiana for player development and training kids, and helping them reach their full potential. And now you're over there at Delgado doing great things, assistant coach, man. Talk about your journey, man, and how, basketball did so much for your life thus far.
Man, first thing first, bro. I'm really glad to be on the show, man. I'm honored that you guys accepted me as a guest, and
No
I'm
doubt.
very appreciative of that. But basketball is, I love the game, man. It's just done so much for me throughout my life, man. Just when I was a kid, just waking up early mornings, man, on the weekends, just dribbling the basketball, aggravating the neighbors, waking up my neighbors, telling them let's roll the goals out, let's play full court in the street and stuff like that, man.
I see that in the mood today.
Yeah, bro. It's just something that I've loved since I was 6 years old, man. Just watching the games and just getting out there and just putting in that work.
But tell everybody a little bit about your story, about what made you wanting to get into coaching, like your whole career dealing with the game of basketball. Like what intrigued you about basketball when you were going to get involved with it, and what made your path get towards coaching the game of basketball?
Man, I was actually doing accounting work, right? And I was actually doing this, man.
I can see you doing it. I can see you punching numbers.
Yeah, man, I was punching numbers. I was in the office, man, and I met this guy. His name was Coach Carey. He knew my high school coach, and he asked me. He said, you never thought about getting into coaching? I was like, man, I said I love the game, but I just, I never really thought about pursuing that, right? But crazy part, when I was in 10th grade, my high school coach told me, he said, man, you would be an excellent basketball coach. That's the path that you need to take. But at that young age, I'm just thinking, man, man, it's just far fetched.
You don't want to hear that when
You don't hear that when you're playing.
I'm like, man, I want to get to the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to coach. I want to get to the NBA.
Right.
But nah, man, like Coach Carey, he really introduced me to some people, man, and I ended up coaching this was in 2016. Ended up coaching at Lusher High School. Went to Lusher, learned under Hunter Higgins. Hunter Higgins is a Jesuit alumni, a real great X and O guy, really passionate about the game. I learned a lot from him. And then Neil McKendall. Neil McKendall's been at Warren Easton for a long time. I mean, he was at Warren Easton for maybe about 30, 40 years. And just a great guy. I learned from him. And then I went to St. Aug under Mitchell Johnson. Mitchell Johnson.
Yep.
Is one of the best coaches, hands down, in the state of Louisiana, and has been for a very long time. So I learned under those three guys, man, and just Mitch, when I went there, he was just like, man, be passionate, just do you, just work with the players. I've always loved the player development aspect of the game because I can help the individual.
Right.
Team practice is based on the team, and we putting together drills and putting together different things to where we can be effective as a team.
Game planning.
But individually, man, like I've had players on every one of those schools that I would stay after or go before, go an hour before, work with guys, stay an hour and a half after, just putting in work, just so they can be better in the games, just so they can improve. And just from me showing my passion, I think we were playing Thibodeau. It was like a Christmas tournament, and I was just really passionate this game, man. I really wanted us to win this game, and I remember Coach Barthe. He's over at Delgado. He's been a coach for a while over there. He saw me. He said, man, I love what you do. And he said, after the season, let's talk. And been at Delgado ever since. So
That's big.
That's huge, man. I mean, talk about a little bit about some of the players you helped develop, like some of the guys you personally trained. I know you probably train guys like not just in the state of Louisiana, but guys probably playing all over now.
Yes.
Talk about some of the guys in terms of like, I heard about some of your training. I heard it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can't really get through the training, but talk about some of the players you think you've coached that's playing this game at a D1 level or even the pro level, whether it's NBA or international.
Definitely, man. One of the hardest workers that I've ever been around is Jerron Pierre. Jerron is a starting shooting guard. He's at Wichita State.
Was over at Southern Miss for a little while.
Yes, man. I love Jerron's work ethic, man. Like Jerron, and this is before shooting machines, right? Well, they still had them, but we didn't have one.
Right.
So
Right.
Jerron's like, Coach, let's get 150 makes after. He would tell me that every single day his junior year. Now, you got to imagine this. Even if he shoots 50%, that's 300 rebounds for me, 300 shots for him. So that's a dedication from a player, and he challenged me as a coach. He would just be like, Coach, we got to do this. I want to be Division I. I remember one game he had like 37 his junior year, and I was like, man, the work is really starting to translate.
But what I don't understand was, why did he go under recruited in high school? Because I remember watching it, and I was like, this dude should be getting recruited. And I think part of it was because he didn't play on a shoe circuit.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was a little bit to do with the shoe circuit. Jerron Pierre, to me, was just one of the better guards in the state of Louisiana from, being a sophomore, junior, and a senior.
Had the length.
Yeah, he had the length. But this is the thing about it, man. Like, he grew late. So now he's 6'5". Now you got people on the pro level looking like, man, this kid is 6'5", shooting guard, can shoot the basketball. He defends at a high level. Now he's going up court. He's dunking the ball. His game has evolved so much.
IQ.
So, oh, yeah, man, absolutely. So I remember one game, man, this was his senior year, and I was over at Delgado, and I saw like 7 Division I coaches in a building at a St. Aug game. I think it was against Catholic High. And I said, man, it's coming. It's coming to fruition.
Late bloomer.
It's really coming, man. So, yeah, man, Jerron Pierre, I think he's an NBA player. I think right now he's at his sophomore year. Right now he's averaging 10 a game. He's had some 20-point games, had some games where he's really took over the game, but he's a team player. So he's not gonna force stuff. He's gonna play what his coach how his coach wants him to play, and he's just gonna get after it, man. Another guy that I've been working with is Cameron Carter. Cam's over at Kansas State.
Yep, was at Mississippi State at first.
They're number. I mean, they're number what? I think 12 in the country right now. And
there's some big wins this year.
Man, Cam is great. Like I saw Cam play at Oak Hill and picking up guys 94 feet. Just picks like he has the ability to change a game based on defense, and he's their glue guy. That Kansas State team with Johnson, with Noel, they have guys that are really good scorers, but he's their glue guy. So when Cam came to me this summer, Cam was like, look, Coach, I really want to work on my game, my offensive game, and I really want to put in the work because he knew he was getting ready to go in the Big 12. So, man, he's had some games this year where I've really been proud of him, man. And, I mean, we talk every day. We're just like, look, we should have done this, or man, you did a great job of doing this, or you should do more of this, or look, in the off season, we're going to do a lot of this. You know what I mean? And, but yeah, man, some other guys like Latrell Jones. Latrell Jones, to me,
killing it at Nichols,
is the best pro prospect in the Southland Conference because he's, I don't want to exaggerate. He's 6'5" or maybe like a 7-foot plus wingspan. He can be an athlete as far as the pro game, but he can be a 3-and-D guy.
And his shot has gotten better.
Oh man, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I first met all these guys like Jerron and all these guys, they were like 16, 17 years old. And
Latrell went to Shaw, huh?
Latrell went to Shaw, man. Latrell, the craziest part about it, Latrell played AAU for me. That's how long I've been.
That's when you had the
New Orleans Wolves.
The Wolves.
Man,
the Wolves.
bro.
I remember when I first started G Sports coming to some games at Xavier and covering y'all.
Yeah, bro, we used to get after it.
Yeah.
We used to get after it. Like I wasn't brought up under the no practice AAU, just meet up and play games. So I had guys coming to St. Mary's, man, in New Orleans East, and I mean we were flipping tires. We were running miles. Guys had to commit fully to the work. And those guys that committed to the work, I vowed to make sure that those guys would play at the next level because I would do everything in my power to make sure that those guys had an opportunity to do so. So, yeah, man, Latrell played AAU for me. I've been knowing Latrell for a long time, man. I've been rocking with him throughout his journey, and that's
Riley Lyons.
oh man, big boy, man. I love Raji, man. Raji is like
Raji. I'm sorry, Raji.
yeah,
Raji
man.
Lyons.
Raji's like a little brother to me. I mean, like a 6'11", 275-pound little brother. You know what I
And
mean?
the thing about Raji,
It's like a
that
foot taller.
I have a real appreciation for a kid like that because I remember when he was at John Curtis in high school and he couldn't dribble a ball and chew gum at the same time,
Right.
right? And then when he got the nickels, every year he just got better and better. Then the jump shot came. He was moving better. He was more in shape. I mean, he elevated every single year he was at Nichols. He was a big part of why they had so much success the last couple of years. And I know, it got to be a testament from, what you and him was doing in the offseason.
Man, Raji's he's the type of person where if he was here right now, he would put a smile on everybody's face. He's a great person to be around. That's the first thing. So when I first met him, I remember he told me, this is our first conversation, man, because I didn't know anybody. Like all the AAU coaches and stuff, they were looking at me. They were like, who is this new guy? And I was trying to network with people and stuff like that.
Right.
And I remember this guy, God rest his soul, our point guard, his name was Raylon Hardy.
Man, I remember Ray Lyon, man.
You know.
He was on that Wolves team.
Yes, sir.
Left
Yes,
hander,
sir.
huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Raylon introduced me to Raji. He was like, man, he got this big guy, but he was like 6'7". He said, man, got this big guy, Coach call him. So I talked to Raji on the phone. I said, man, what's up? I said, bro, I know you don't know me. I said, I'm starting this team. I said, we're going to get after it. And he was like, Coach, I want to play Division I ball. And we had that conversation, and it was so much weight on my shoulders because I'm like, got this big kid, I'm going to have to connect with people. I'm going to have to make, but man, we talked to so many people. We had like Richmond, North Texas, a lot of different schools we were in contact with, but it was Austin Claunch. Austin was assistant at the time, and Austin didn't miss a game. Austin didn't miss a game. He really believed in Raji as an assistant, and he really talked to Coach Riley about it.
Richie Riley was there.
Yeah, and I mean, it was great. And from that really motivated me, helping a kid get an offer. Because after that was my sole purpose with this, man. I believe that God puts you in certain situations, and God is going to be there to guide you through your path. And I feel like every situation that I've been in and every job that I've had or every kid I've worked with, God wanted me to work with those people at the time. And with him, from that point, I was like, man, I help this kid. So from that point on, I'm just like, man, I'm going to help guys get to college.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. One of the kids that you did work with got drafted, Melvin Oliver. Talk about like what you saw with him, especially like at Higgins, like who's not known.
Melvin Frazier.
Melvin Frazier.
Tulane. From his journey there to Tulane to the Magic, and then I think he's over.
He's playing in G League right now.
G League.
Like what like you saw in him to kind of like tinker him to get into like to draftable like that. To me, I think the NBA is the most difficult league to get drafted in professional sports because it's only 2 rounds. You only have so many teams.
That's 60 picks.
And it's not like you can draft to stash,
Right.
type
You're
deal.
right. You're right. Well, man, it's about a year ago. I think it was right before Hurricane Ida. Melvin reached out, and we started to like really put in some work. I think that the biggest thing that led to Melvin Frazier getting drafted was the big game against North Carolina. The big game against North Carolina put him on a lot of people's board, and they saw it. He was like, man, he's 6'6", 6'7", long arms, can defend. He was a super athlete in high school.
Always. That's one thing he always knew him for his athleticism.
I think we played him. I think might have been at Holy Cross, and I was at Lusher at the time, man. We played them, and we had no shot. But we were just like, man, let's zone, and let's just make him work. I mean, he was catching in the middle, jab step, slamming it, just stuff like that, man. But, yeah, I mean, Melvin's a great person. Melvin is someone who is has had success from here, but he's a humble guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy, you'd be walking on the street, say, what's up? He'll say, what's up to you, even if he doesn't know you. But he's a good guy. But, I mean, I wish him nothing but the best, like moving forward. But it's a reason why he's staying attached to the league because he's got that talent. And he works really hard.
What I want to know is, when you look at the dynamics of high school basketball and AAU basketball, right? It seems to me that a lot of kids only want to put the work in when the cameras are on, or when it benefits them in some type of way. Nobody. It seems like a lot of kids, not all kids, but it seems like a lot of kids don't want to do the necessary work when nobody's looking. Why do you think that is, and how do you tap into a kid and get them to see the big picture and commit themselves to the work ethic part of being the best version of themselves as a basketball player?
Man, I think that's the separation point. The separation point is you have a good player here, right? And the person that's putting in the work is going to continue to grow. I've seen so many kids that are like 11, 12 years old, and they're like ahead of everyone. Like their game is so far ahead, and you look at them, you're like, man, in high school, it's going to dominate. And then they're getting so many people that are telling them they're great.
Yeah, right.
So
you the next one. 14,
15 years old, the kid that's maybe the 60th best player in the state, just say 12 years old, right? He's grinding every day because nobody is telling him that. I tell all my guys, like, coaches want dogs, right? But to be successful, you got to be a wolf. You understand? You got to have a burning desire to get better every single day. And you got to be hungrier than everyone. And when you eat a little bit, you got to go back and go hunt. Because at the end of the day, you cannot settle and you cannot get content or complacent with yourself. So when I'm working with guys like Brandon Davis that I've been working with for a long time, this dude is like the epitome of work. Like, he knew that he wasn't highly recruited. He knew that he had to go to a JUCO. The first JUCO he went to, he ended up having a transfer by us, but he worked that whole summer, ended up being all region, worked some more. Coach Hollowell he was over at Loyola, gave him an opportunity. He still was in a lab, working, national championship. And he told me, he was like, I'm going to play Division I ball one day, coach. But for a lot of guys, they say that, but they don't put it into the work. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
the actions ain't matching, the words not matching the actions.
Yeah, man. And see, I think a lot of times it's who you're around. Like, I watch my grandfather. My grandfather worked until he was about 60 years old. You understand? Like, my grandfather didn't have the privilege to be able to retire at a young age. So I watched him work. Then I watched my mom going to work at 2 o'clock, getting off at 11:30. We eating dinner by my grandma. She lived right down the street because my mom sacrificed so much of her personal life to be able to work and provide for me and my sister. So I try to get kids, and just me, like, I have to work for every single thing that I've ever gotten. So I try to instill that in every single individual that I work with. So when I find kids that want to play at the next level, I look for the hungry ones.
Right.
I look for the one. I talk to the coaches like, man, like, is he spending time after practice? How's his work? Is he asking you to open up the gym, or you asking him to come in the gym because you're gonna open it? That's a big difference. So just like you said, G, like the kids that really want it, you're gonna know from the work. And a lot of times it's not about who's the most talented when you go to college.
Look,
and to your point, we've seen, and I'm sure you have too, we've seen a lot of kids come through when they're 7th and 8th grade, right? Even 9th grade, and you're like, man, this kid gonna be big time. He probably gonna end up going to, LSU or a big high major school. He has a chance to be a potential pro.
Right.
And then when you look back by the junior senior year, you're like, damn, he kind of fizzled out. And it's because of the people they got around him.
Yeah.
That doesn't have that they foot on their neck saying, look, you got to keep getting better. You can't get complacent.
When you said that, the name that popped into my mind, and even though he went to D1, D1 SEC, was Brian Bridgewater. That was
he stopped growing too.
Episcopal, like he was at, but it's like when he was in that AAU circuit, and when he was like in that 8th grade, like 7th, 8th grade, he would leave football practice, run into the gym. Like the coach, like, man, I don't know what to do because he's overusing his body. And then it's like high school come along. You get around, your umbrella kind of got bigger, and then it's like the work stopped, and then it didn't show in the high school level. Like G said, he stopped growing, but it showed at that next level where it's like, you're done.
I think that's it's really about your village.
Yeah,
It's
man.
about who's in your village, because I have a I guess a saying is prepare to produce. And if your preparation isn't at that level, you're not just gonna turn it on when the lights come on. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You can't do that, man. And so with a lot of my players like that I work with, I'll assess how they are, and then I'll think about a 3-month plan, 6-month plan. It takes about 3 months to completely change someone's shot, but they can't go to someone else and shoot the wrong way. It takes about 6 months for me to see significant increase. So it takes consistency from the coach. It takes consistency from the player and the family of the player. And the player development is so key, because the kids at the younger age, they don't play as much as we used to play. Man, I used to stay outside all day. I'm talking about get maybe $2 from my grandma. I'm going to get 2 frozen cups. I'm going to drink out the hose pipe. I'm going to get maybe I lived on Treasure and Broad Street, man. So we had the Burger King had just opened up on I think that's Elysian Fields right there. So we used to walk over there. But I would be outside all day. And I would be outside all day. So we didn't have trainers then. And
your trainer was just being outside all day.
Yeah.
Don't come
Your
in here.
trainer was hooping.
Yeah.
And watching the games on TV and enhancing your IQ.
Correct.
Right. So I mean, the older guys, you know what I mean. That's who I really learned the game from. Like I'll go through the lane and try to make a layup and get knocked down, and I'm trying to call a foul, and the older guy like, man, go home.
Go home.
You know what are you doing? And we would play all day, every day. We'll go play, different areas, or we'll play each other. And I had to be home when I heard my grandpa saying Rory. That was the street light was on.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I had to sprint home, but
I
outside
had
of
to be
that,
inside for the street light.
Oh, yeah, man.
That was the time.
Soon as you heard this, I'm
I
late.
start flickering. I'm jetting home.
Yeah, when they start picking up,
jetting home,
it's
man.
over with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think, man, like with production and as far as like players, it's about who wants it, man. Like I don't feel like any player should be nudged to play this game. Like no one should be forced to play this game. You shouldn't tell a kid, man, I think you should play because you're a big guy. Like they know. Like everybody needs a little bit of a push, but if it's a shove, it's too much. Once I push somebody and I'm like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. If I have to keep calling you or look, we need to get in the lab, or you need to work on this, you need to work on this. And once I kind of feel like that,
The interest ain't there.
but I lose interest as well.
Yeah.
Because I invest in the invested. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about investing in your craft. I'm invested in your craft. You have to be 100% invested in your own craft for me to consistently spend time to train and work with you.
I tell my son all the time, if I gotta keep convincing you how important this opportunity is for you, then it's not for you.
Absolutely.
Like if I gotta keep saying, look, man, if you keep on working on your craft and committing yourself and sacrificing your time to get better, this is where you could end up at. If I gotta keep telling you that, it's not for you.
It's not for you.
It's just not for you.
Let me ask you this, because I think G could attest to it because of how much he sees it and stuff, and by him being involved in the 7-on-7 for football and in the AAU scene. For football, I can train a kid individually to where it will show up in the scheme.
Absolutely.
Because it's 11 people.
Yeah.
It's 11 people. Basketball, by being 5, I'm just curious because I'm ignorant to the facts, so I just really want to know.
Real.
How do you train somebody to develop them, but where they also it's not individualized
Right.
in
Real.
the game? Like I understand, like it's gonna be certain time, like pick and roll, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? It might turn to an ISO situation, like all right, the cone drills, this, laid up off the wrong foot. No, like, I understand where that skill set would come in, but how do you make sure that person is like honed in to where he's not trying to Kyrie Irving everything. Like it's me and then it's y'all.
Definitely.
That's a good question.
Man, I mean, that's an excellent question, brother. Like, when I start off with the younger kids are just about learning through experience.
Mhm.
Like, I want to help them grow their game and build their confidence. Confidence is so important for the younger kids.
Right.
The high school kids is just kind of like figuring out who you are. And if you really want to go play at the next level, we need to make sure that you're great at something.
Okay.
You got to be good at something. Like, you have to be good. Like, something about you has to be an eye opener for a
It's
coach.
just like the league.
Absolutely. And that's a great point.
You got to do one thing. If you could do one thing, great.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
You got a shot.
They
Yes.
feel like they can work with everything else.
So by that time with the college guys, I know what they're good at. But that particular team may need for them to do something else. So we'll work on that. And those guys that are really exceptional at something, they'll become pros. And the pros, I'm just helping them. We just tuning it up because they're just trying to make more money for their families. So I will say this. When it comes down to individual training, I try to work on stuff in the off season that's for that individual, right? I have a big kid that I'm working out with right now. He's about 6'7". He's a stretch guy.
Okay.
Can really stretch the floor. I mean, he's got a great IQ. But for his team, he's more of a
Back to the basket.
back to the basket type of guy. So I'm looking at during the season, I'm not working on stretching it as much. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I don't want to conflict with
Yeah.
the mindset and the
scheme of
what
what
they're
it's-
doing.
Of the team. Yeah.
So, but this offseason, you know what we're gonna do? Dribble up full speed. Now you coming off my screen because I know that your game has more levels to it, and you're a blank canvas. So I know that at a 4-year school, and if he comes play for me or plays for anyone else, I know that his game could expand. So during the season, I work on the dynamics. So this is what it comes to. Like just say when Cam and when Jerron and all those guys came home for Christmas, I got it in with all those guys. But I worked out based on what Cam does for Kansas State. I worked on what Latrell does for Nichols, what
Right.
Jerron does. I'm never going to do something away from that. But in the off season, okay, now Jerron's going to probably be featured as the guy on the team. So we're going to work on everything. Because I know the ball is going to be in his hands more. With Latrell, I'm working on stuff that he's doing right now, but I know that Latrell's got a combine coming up in a few months. I know that he's working towards getting a pro contract. So we're going to work on the stuff that he's good at, but we're also going to make sure that some of the things that we need to improve upon, we definitely will, man. Because like G was saying, to make it as a pro, you have to be exceptional at one thing. So if you a shot blocker, man, you better block everything at that workout. If you a three-point shooter, you better shoot 50 or better. You want the coaches, man. I'll tell this little story, man. I actually worked out with Javon Carter. Javon Carter is actually in Brooklyn.
Played for the Brooklyn. He was with the Bucks.
Yeah, he was with the Bucks.
Yeah, okay.
And played. He played for Brooklyn, played for the Bucks, man. But he's
He went to Lamar.
no, he went to he actually went to West Virginia.
West Virginia. I'm tripping. Right.
So.
Okay.
He went to West Virginia, man, and when I first saw him picking up Trae Young. That was like the matchup every time. It was West Virginia, it was Texas, and Oklahoma. Excuse me,
Oklahoma.
And he's basically just like picking him up, guarding him 94 feet. And a lot of people felt like that team was really good. So he ended up having my guy, man, Hunter, that was at Nicholls State. He's real close to him. D'Angelo. Real close.
He went to West
guy.
Virginia. Yeah.
That's his guy. So they ended up coming down. They ended up working on, man. We worked at Helen Cox on this side. Javon Carter was like, man, we need to get some work in. Went to Helen Cox. But just looking into his story and talking to him, there was a situation to where he was in, I guess he was in like a workout. It was like training camp.
Right.
And they hadn't decided. You know how when you work out for different teams, you do your interviews and stuff.
Right.
Man, he's working out. And he's just grinding on the defensive end, doing what he did in college, which he's exceptional at, being a ball hawk. He's a hawk. He's a pit bull. I think that's his thing. Bulldog mentality is like his slogan. Man, he's guarding so hard, he rips the bottom of his shoe. He's guarding so hard, he rips the bottom of his shoe. Big dog is upstairs looking down. Sees that. He ends up getting drafted. He ends up getting drafted by that team.
He made himself undeniable.
undeniable, and he was known for playing defense. But on that day, he wanted it so bad on the defensive end that he actually ripped the bottom of his shoes. And I tell a lot of people I tell kids all the time, they're like, man, I'm guarding hard, coach. I'm like, you're not ripping your shoes though. Because I'm not trying to but listen, Javon Carter, he wanted to make money for his family. Mm-hmm. He wanted to earn a contract. What are you doing? What are you doing that's similar to that? What are you doing that's separating yourself from everybody else that says they have the same dream?
Yeah, because there's only a certain amount of spots. People think that the availability for you to go play this game at the professional level, like the opportunity. No, it's not for everybody.
Right.
There's only a certain amount of spots.
Right.
Like once those spots are filled, they're filled.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like Raji, he's getting ready to go over there to Mexico. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to play pro ball over there. I've had guys that I've worked with that have played all over the country, and all of them are making money for their families. That's the whole thing about this, man. The whole thing about it is you start off at a young age, you love the game. Mm-hmm. You grind, you work for opportunity. Once you get opportunity, the opportunity comes in the form of a scholarship. You get a scholarship, the scholarship pays for your education. If you're exceptional, you go play pro. But a lot of people, a lot of young kids, and I tell all the young kids I train, I'm like, bro, there's a big world out there. And the world has caught up to the United States when it comes to basketball.
Yes.
And there's so many players. Yes. So you're not competing. I tell guys all the time, they're like, well, coach, I'm the best in my district. Like, son.
Better pull up a map.
Because look, the coach in Oklahoma, you got to look at it like this. There's a coach in Oklahoma, right? Mm-hmm. Coach in Oklahoma is recruiting. Why should he come to Louisiana and recruit you when he has somebody that's similar in his backyard in Oklahoma?
There you go.
And it's cheaper.
Exactly.
Cheap.
So with our kids down here, I'm big on them earning what they want because, I feel like we're behind, not in football. I feel like we're behind in basketball.
I was just gonna ask you that,
but it wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that
20 years ago.
It wasn't like that when we was coming.
What
happened?
I don't know, G. I think,
bro.
No.
15, 20 years ago, bro, when I was coming out,
Chris Duhon,
you got that?
Brandon Bass,
bro. We have taken a step back in Louisiana basketball.
But like, I'm talking about like as a whole.
I'm talking about as a whole.
I'm talking about like as a state. I feel like we've been behind like for a while. Like in basketball.
I'm gonna tell you another reason why I feel like that. Back then, you didn't have kids moving into Texas, moving to Atlanta from Louisiana. They stayed here.
Yeah.
Now you got a lot of kids that's here. Now they leave. They moving. They going to Dallas. They moving to Houston. They moving to Atlanta. They going to a prep school in Kansas because we have taken a step back in high school basketball and AAU basketball. In my opinion, what's your response to that? What is the difference?
I think that it has a lot to do with marketing. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Like when you, like marketing, like from the
meaning
AAU or
just on the grand scheme. Like, okay, like if a kid, let me put it like this in numbers. I don't know how many players we have in Louisiana, high school basketball players. Mm. You're gonna have about 10 to 15 players that are gonna go Division I. 10 to 15, okay, 15 to 30 are probably Division I players 5-6 years ago, but they're going to have to either go NAIA or they're going to go prep school. So those 15 to 30, some of them are getting coerced to go to a prep school or they're going to
D2,
a D2,
D3,
right? So that you're a top 30 kid in the class in the whole state, but you're probably not going to a 4-year school. That's when we come in because now we can recruit against the NAIA schools. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because the top 30 kid is thinking, I'm a Division I player.
Right.
I'm the number 7 shooting guard in the state. He's not better than me. He just played on a better AAU team. So,
and we're seeing more.
Exactly. So I think that, to be honest with you, man, I think our games need to be more televised. I don't think we have enough people at our games for the high school kids. I've been to some gyms, man, to where I went to Brother Martin, bro. We had the Conlin Crazies.
Man, come on,
you
man.
had D.J. Augustin.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you though.
Come on, man.
Like Rory,
that was a shoot.
That ain't just your average.
But I'm gonna tell you though. Even then, when we went to just like even before that, like even before DJ got the brother on, you would go to another Catholic school game, and the rivalry was just crazy. But now I walk in the gym now, and I just don't see it. I don't see it how it was, and maybe we're becoming the OGs. You know what I mean? And we're looking at it.
I covered Landry and Carter the other night. It was packed.
Oh yeah.
But see,
Well, the West Bank is different to me. They get after it.
But I think another thing to marry what both of y'all are saying too. When we was in school, it didn't matter if your school was sorry or not. You played for your hood, your area. So like, people that was in Marrero from Kennedy Heights to Marrero, they wasn't going nowhere else but L.W. Higgins. Okay, we could have been horrible or whatever, but they were gonna go to L.W. Higgins.
Pride.
You know what I'm saying? And then so when you play, because I remember to this day, Albert Weber, we had Albert Weber, Duke, Jason Williams.
Okay,
on with the UTEP.
Like coaching at UTEP now.
We beat Eric, who had the number one player in the. Deshaun was like number one in the nation
at that time. Derek Burdett.
Yeah,
Derek Burdett and
Deshaun Jordan, the left-hander.
He was nice.
They beat him, and then
Deshaun
Kennedy was rolling, and so we beat them. We beat them in the playoff, and then Kennedy and Higgins played at Higgins, and Cash Money was there, betting.
Yeah,
like standing room only.
Right.
Like it was like, oh yeah, we made it. We made it. Like you, I have
games
yet to see that again.
But here's the thing though, right? We came out in that era when basketball was like
it was word of mouth though.
Word of mouth, but you understand,
newspaper.
And you had to go see it. Like it's like
you heard about it. Like man, they got this kid at St. Aug. He like 5'9", 5'10". Well, mouthpiece. Yeah, man, he a dog. Yeah. Who that is? Hollis Price.
Well, Hollis like that
guy.
Yeah.
So my night when I was in ninth grade, I went to H.L. Bourgeois. We played. I was, but back then, ninth grade wasn't at the high school, so I was in junior high still. But I still went to the game because I knew I was going the following year.
Yeah.
H.L. played St. Aug in the second round of the playoffs at St. Aug. Bro, the game started at 7:00. When we got there at 5:45, it was a line from the door all the way down the street.
Jeez.
Like, bro, and when you got in there, bro, it was nowhere to sit, nowhere to stand. It was crazy. A second round playoff matchup. You know what I mean? So it just was different back then. And you're making a good point. Now, Maul Monday's doing a good job of
man. Maul's doing a great job.
The exposure part of it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But we gotta do more of that. And people like even on my point,
but
like
even the
media, we gotta do a better job of trying to get to not just the big games,
but
the games like I don't know. Helen Cox.
The Helen Cox versus
like a game of the week.
Playing Crescent City.
Playing
Crescent City. You know what I'm saying? We got to do a better job of that.
G, how long we been working together?
About 5-6 years.
Yeah. Show you how fast it changed. G invited me to my first Super 60.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm a football guy. Like a football guy. I enjoyed the game of basketball. You know what I'm saying? I played basketball, but once they told me, hey, look, at your height, you're a point guard. I'm like, man, look, I play the 5, baby.
Yeah.
If I can't hit him with the boom boom like my dog Shaq, don't. So I knew it was over for me. I went to the Super 60 with G, helping him with the interviews and all that stuff, and it was ridiculous. Like Jermaine O'Neal. I remember like it was yesterday. Penny Hardaway's team.
TJ Ford. Team though.
Alfred Payton had a team there. You had Lala's son. Lala was playing in that stuff. Like it was so many. It was like ridiculous that weekend. Fast forward like 3 years later, I went and I was like, it was like you. It was
the Super 60 ain't the same. No,
it wasn't like it was like the energy. Like you walk in there, it's like this ain't what I went to my first go round.
Yeah.
Right. And it feels like the allure of basketball to me, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a football guy. It feels like the allure of basketball in the state of Louisiana, unless you up north. Now, north they different. Like they just like the Shreveport areas. I was like they feel like they can't be beat.
Right.
You know, but for the majority of the state of Louisiana, it feels like the allure of basketball is like.
Man, I mean that's.
Cause like we got what's the girl from Parkway?
Michaela Williams.
Oh yeah.
She a dog.
Yeah.
She a beast.
If she's not a top 5 player top 5 pick in the draft when it's time for her to come out, I'll be very shocked.
Like you don't hear about her enough.
Yeah.
You don't hear about her enough.
I think that has to get better. We play, like us, we playing on this, in the JUCO, we playing in Region 23.
Okay.
So we could go on a Wednesday night to a small town in Mississippi, and that gym is going to be packed.
Oh yeah, Mississippi is a whole different animal
And
when it comes to basketball.
they're going to live stream it. They're going to have a show. They're going to have a show after with the coaches.
They make it the event.
Yeah, exactly, man. But I think that we have so much going on in the city and
Entertainment.
so much entertainment,
entertainment
that they don't it's not a central point of what, like we were saying, we were in high school. A Friday night, everybody was either going to a football game, maybe at Tag Gormley, or it was a game of the week, and we like, man, we got to go to that game, and you'll go if you're not playing. But now I just feel like that everything is so stretched out that you may not make it a priority to do that. You know what I mean? But I think the kids deserve it, and that's why I promote so hard for the kids, because I know how it is in Texas. I know how in Texas, they're ahead of us when it comes to that. Georgia, Florida,
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Our players are just as good. They're just as good, but they aren't talked about enough individually. The team may be talked about. Like everybody, if you don't know anything about New Orleans, you know about Mardi Gras, you know about our food, you know about the French Quarter,
Right.
but we got kids down here that should be talked about on a national scale because they've worked for it just like other kids elsewhere. But I just feel like just all of us and other people that are in positions to make it happen and to promote those kids. And that's what I was saying about the marketing standpoint. I mean, Maul does a great job, man. Maul, when I first started with AAU, I was doing all Maul's tournaments because I trusted Maul. You know what I mean? I still trust Maul with that level of promotion and getting my guys ready. And it's helped out a lot of our guys because of that. But we need more guys to tap in to not what he's doing, but with other things, so where the kids can go further. Because I mean, they got a kid right now, like the kid from Zachary Hardy. Love his game, and that kid should be promoted on a higher scale, in my opinion. That Scotlandville team should have been playing games on national television against a Duncanville, because they won. I mean, they won what, 3 or 4? I mean, I can't even.
Javante Smart, Scott,
man, even after him with Reese Beekman, that team was just as tough.
The team this year good.
Oh man, absolutely. The kid Scooter, he's number 1 in the country.
Is he still at Austin P?
He's at East Central. He's at JUCO. He's the number 1. He's number 1 in points per game in the country. You know what I mean? Right now,
he could put it in the hole.
So I mean, I just think that needs to, and that's why I've always been an advocate for the name on the back of the jersey rather than the name on the front of the jersey. Gotcha. Like, I don't support, like when I'm training a kid in high school, like I'm cool with all the coaches, like, but the name on the back of the jersey is more important to me because I've always thought about it like this. I'm like, if a player puts in 4 years and they have the skill set and they have the grind to make it at the next level, like a state championship is not should not be the end all for them. The championship should be a scholarship. That family should, their tuition or some part of their tuition should be taken care of, because
it's a fine line when you pouring into that kid and getting them to understand, you got to be a little selfish, but at the same time, you got to conform and do things the right way to make sure you have team success. How do you have that balance when you explaining that to a kid? That's not easy.
I feel like if you win, it brings team success.
Yeah.
I was talking to Trail about this the other day. Latrell, I was like, man, y'all got to touch that tournament. This is the year. And the guy
touched it last year.
Yeah, absolutely. But the guy, like everybody who is a senior and the guys next year, they'll have that notch on their resume, on their pro resume, on their resume when they're showing the pros, right? Because overseas, and a lot of these people, they don't know who you are unless you're Michigan State, Duke,
Yep.
unless your name is in a
North Carolina
on a Fanatics website. If it's not on the Fanatics website, they probably don't even know who you are. North Carolina, Notre Dame, Kansas, they know those schools, but after that, it's about what are you doing, what's your numbers. So with me, I like even like at Delgado, man, I tell the kids all the time, I'm like, look, we have to beat the Mississippi schools so we can be recruited like the Mississippi players.
Yeah.
It like this was our first year beating Hines since I've been there. Hines is a great program. One of my guys, he's the coach over there. He does a phenomenal job.
My
And
dude Yusuf Fitzgerald used to be the coach over there for a while.
Love
Not yet,
Yusuf.
Piney
He's a
Woods.
great guy, man.
Yep.
He's a great guy, bro. But I tell our guys all the time, I'm like, okay, you want to have individual success? It's just like with Devin Lewis. I talked to Devin about this. I'm like, Devin, you're a Division I player. But we have to have great team success for you to play at the Division I level. I've talked to about 5 or 6 Division I coaches in the past week about this kid. I'm like making sure that they know so he gets a fair shot.
Right.
But to get a true shot,
You gotta have team success.
we got to have team success.
Gotta have team
You
success.
have to win.
Some
Just like
contribution to it.
you look in the league, like when guys, when you look in the league and guys are winning championships, that guy's up for a contract extension, that guy's up for the payday. They'll get the big payday.
You ain't lying.
It starts with team. They
Tristan
want
Thompson.
winners. You know,
Tristan
lying.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Let
So
me ask you this, Rick, so you didn't have success, at the high school level, training, and coaching on the college level. When you watch basketball, all levels, what is that one thing that you say like it's lost? Like what is that one skill?
post entry passes.
the mid range. The
Mid
elbow
range
jumper.
still there.
Well,
You see Bi?
No, bro. Like I'm
It's
talking
lost.
about high school and college.
Oh, it's gone.
Bro, that elbow jumper, that 15, 16 footer,
It's gone.
Like, they either shooting a 3 or they trying to get all the way to the cup.
The dribble up,
The
dribble,
3-level
pull up,
scores, that's just that's not consistent.
Because
in the high school game.
I think it's the 2K like Steph Curry. I need to stop saying Steph Curry.
I
'cause
mean, he
gets,
revolutionized the game.
But it's like because I feel like he gets a bad like in this
Right.
part of when you talk about the game, he gets a bad like name in this part of it because everybody like, well, Steph Curry started doing this, so everybody like it's part of his game. But you got Trae Young. You see a lot of people
Like
doing
Damian
that, and the kids. Hey, I see Steph do this. Boom, I'm gonna get out here and do this.
Well, I think that Steph has definitely revolutionized the game. I think that analytics took over the game. So it's not okay. So just say if I come off a ball screen, the bigs drop coverage, I could shoot the 3, right? You see a lot of drop coverage in the NBA, right? On a college game, they may tag, so you may have to drag your man out and then get downhill, and then you could get the pull up or get a floater, right? On a high school level, you may come off a screen and be right there for the shot. But this is the thing about it. The analytics has taken over because a lot of times coaches are saying, come off that screen and let it fly. And the reason why they're saying that is because if I'm shooting 27 feet, right? Now I'm shooting a mid-range or I'm shooting inside the line, I'm about 18, 19 feet. 8 feet, 3-point shot. You feel what I'm saying? At this spot is 2 points. So if I'm going to shoot the shot anyway, I have a higher value of making it. Me personally, my guys will tell you, we shoot so many mid-range shots because we have quick guards. So our guards are coming off the screen. They're tagging. I'm teaching a drag and then blow pass. And when you get to that second line of the defense, the best time to shoot the basketball is when their feet are turned. So if a guy is sliding, trying to cut me off, I'm rising up and letting it go. You know what I mean?
Why is that the best time to shoot the
Because
basketball?
he can't recover.
Can't recover. Yeah, and it's hard to contest.
Hard to close out.
It's hard to contest. So like if I'm, I always tell players, get guys, on in their heels, right? So you come off a screen and the big is there. If he's squared up on you, squared up, 7'5" wingspan, he's gonna contest that, right? But you come off that screen now, you drag out, pace. You get downhill on him. He's sliding to cut you off.
Yep.
He's sliding to cut. If he slides to cut you off, you got to be able to stop on a dime and make those jumpers, and that's why I do a lot of pace
Or the
work.
floater.
Absolutely. You blow past that guy, and a lot of this, man, I tell the high school kids a lot of times, a lot of the high school kids, they're like, Coach, we finish on 2 feet so many times in training because when you go to college, you're going to have to. Either you're going to dunk the ball or you're going to have high floaters. You're going to finish on 2 feet because you got to be controlled aggression. You got to be aggressive getting to the spot,
Right.
control finishing. So it's key, man. So I think with the mid range, I love the mid range shot. Like I love the mid range shot. I love it for the players. I think that it's open. I think that you come off a screen, you make that drop pass to that big. You're not rolling to the basket in college often unless you coming off a screen and you got a lob threat when you could lob it up. The teams like you're looking at Southland when the bigs are 6'7", 6'6", maybe 6'8". You coming off that screen, drop pass is a short roll. So they get in the mid range. They're getting 14 footers. And you gotta take those. You can't I don't think you can live and die by the three on a college level because the guys in the pros, they've shot. Steph Curry's, I don't know how many shots he's taken, but you got to look at it like this. He's working out about 2 hours before the game. He's making about 300, 400 threes. So when he gets on national television, the lights are bright. He might miss his first three, but he about to ring it up.
Muscle memory.
Yep.
That's it. You know that. So with a high school kid, they'll take a mid range. They'll miss it. They're not gonna take another one because they're thinking like, man, unless their coach is giving them the green light and saying, you better shoot. But they're thinking, all right, 3, pull up. So a lot of kids are thinking 3-point shot, rim.
Yep.
But the opening is at the mid. If you can learn how to operate in ball screens, you can really learn the pace and understand help side and anticipate. You can really operate at that mid range. And a lot of all my guys, they'll tell you like, man, Coach Rory, we're shooting more mid range than anything.
I think another key part of why we have fell behind in Louisiana as it pertains to basketball is because when I talk to like some of the coaches at Drive Nation, that's on the Nike circuit, or Team Thad out there in Tennessee that plays on the Under Armour circuit, right? These guys and the coaches are in the gym like every day, all day, bro.
Yes.
And you can see it when you watch them on the circuit, right?
Right.
In Louisiana, you don't have that kind of access to the gym.
That's
and
true.
I think
That's
that
true.
is one of the biggest problems. Like in my area, bro, they charge you to use the gym.
Yeah.
The high school, like
Like the recreational gyms. And it wasn't like that when I was coming up.
Recreational gyms.
Right.
It wasn't like that. It was like, look, we won't use the gym from 8 to 9. Cool, long as ain't nobody, first come, first serve.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, yeah, you gotta charge you $120. It's all kind of stipulations that come into it,
But
and I
with
think
football,
that is
you just need some cones and the ball,
and that's why
Right.
football will always be further along because we can go on that field,
go on
right
that
in the
field.
median right
Field,
there,
ball.
and start working on releases at receiver or working on a kick step for offensive lineman. It don't matter, but in basketball, you need that gym, and you don't have the access to gym. The second part about it is when I was coming up, we would go outside on concrete and play.
yeah.
Correct.
These kids not doing it. They're not going outside in the heat and play on concrete.
I didn't know till you got to college that there was a different ball that you're supposed to use on concrete than on hardwood.
Yeah. Right.
It was like the true hooper. Man, no, don't. That's hey man, use this ball.
Use
This
this ball.
This the concrete. Man,
Right.
shoot.
So
I'm gonna tell you though, man, like my first year when I decided to start the Wolves, man, we didn't have a gym. Like I didn't know, I wasn't connected with anyone outside of Brother Martin and outside of some people like that. We didn't have a gym. Man, we practiced at Pontchartrain Park. And then we went to there's a school, Cahill. It's like not too far from what Gentilly Mall in that area.
Okay, right.
Right around that area. It was like a school back there. We used to practice back there. We had the field, flipping tires, and then this nun, she actually blessed us to be able to use St. Mary's. So when I first was getting kids and we were first training, that first year I was training one person. We were training outside. But that kid ended up playing, college ball years later. But that's the separation point. It's about how bad do you want it. Now, the access to gyms and facilities, you look at other states, these kids have opportunity to go and get in the gym.
Yep.
Our kids, they don't have enough of that.
Right.
We need facilities that these kids can go in, work on their game, work with different trainers at different times, right? Work with if they want to go with their classmates, or if they want to get in the weight room, or if they want to use an indoor track, or if whatever, they need to have that, because in other states they have that. That's a norm. So when our kids come out of here, I know they're ready. You know why? Because look at how much they have to do to get that opportunity.
Yeah, I don't really see that. I agree with G point and your point, but when I was coming up, man, those gyms, those recreational gyms, they used to be open often.
Right.
They used to have even games going on in there. You don't even hear about games going on in those places no more. You don't hear about just open the gym to go play, just play recreationally.
Yeah.
All that stuff has been like somewhat eliminated, but when you come to football, man, all you need is some cones.
Yeah.
All you need is a football.
You don't even need
cones.
football and grass. We make it happen.
Bro, this past summer, I ain't gonna say the high school. Me and my son and two of his AAU teammates was at a high school, and we was there till like 1:00 in the morning.
Really?
The next morning, I get a phone call.
Yeah.
From the school boy saying, "Hey, somebody passed by the gym last night around 1:00 in the morning. They sent your car out there. What's going on? Why y'all in the gym that long? Why y'all? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, serious? We ain't break anything. We don't have
There's no fights.
A whole bunch of kids that don't play basketball, or just local kids just in the gym, just bullshitting around or nothing like that. We in here really like getting it in, and y'all telling me we can't be in here because it's 1:00 in the morning. We doing something constructive and keeping these kids out the street, and y'all talking about we in here too late, and I think that's one of the bigger problems.
I think too. It goes back to what you said earlier, Rory, the marketing part. I think we didn't got so, especially now, we didn't got so used to being drove by profits and all that stuff.
Yes.
People make profits off of 7-on-7. People make profits off of football. People make profits off of drawing a football camp and all that stuff. Like and it's easy profit because you know they're gonna come out. Like people ain't gotta know me from left to right. I can say, look, tomorrow at HL Bourgeois, we got a 7-on-7 tournament. Winner get $150. It's gonna be 10 teams show up.
Right.
I could go the same day and be like, hey, look, we got a basketball tournament. Maybe half of that will show up.
Right.
If that. And then you to break even or to cover the cost, you gotta charge admission. Then you gotta charge it. Like football, like you could draw a 7-on-7 tournament, you ain't gotta charge nothing. You gonna make it. Like you could just you could let everybody, you ain't gotta charge no cover, just open up a concession stand. You gonna make your money.
I think that a lot of it's division as well. Like a lot of people in the basketball world when it comes to Louisiana are divided. You know what I mean? And I've always thought, like, because me, I don't ever since I got to Delgado, I stopped doing AAU. So I've worked with players on all AAU, like all the
That's
different
by choice?
teams. It was because I'm the type of person where I don't like to. I like to be. If I'm committed to something, I'm completely committed. I'll do things for fun, but I know that I'm doing it for fun. Like I like to fish, right? But I'm not a fisherman.
Right.
So, me personally, if I'm doing something, like if I'm out there, I'm trying to catch some fish, right? If I'm doing basketball, if I'm doing Delgado, I want to be solely committed to Delgado. But if I'm
so you don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Absolutely. Because like even like with the training, like that's something that Coach Barthe and I talked about. He was like, man, listen, I think your gift is player development. So I want you to come over here, recruit, help me build this program and develop the guys, but train whoever you want. So, I might have a guy from Southern Miss, or I might have a guy from different schools that'll come down during the school year, and I'm coaching, but I'm still working with them because it's just it's an understanding. But I think there's just some division where guys are kind of, they've lost sight of why they started doing certain things.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that the kids should be the focus, man. Like the kids, and it's cliche that, people say like, I'm all for the kids and this and that. But I think at the end of the day, you got to look back when you were a kid. Think about who you needed, or think about who you could have used in your life at that point. Because a lot of kids are they're fatherless, or they may have a situation to where they may have to work because their family may be struggling or whatever the case may be. And then these kids can't pay a membership fee to go use a gym or to do that.
Right.
So we need more community, recreational type facilities because, like I said, man, a lot of the kids I train, the only time they work on their game is with me.
Right.
And I'm not one of those I'm not one of those trainers to where it's like just say if like G brought his son this summer, we work, right? And if G has a trainer near his crib that he wants his son to work with, I'm all for it because I want a kid like my son is working with 2 different people right now. Because I want him to hear different aspects, and then I'll go watch a 30 for 30 with him to get him to understand, okay, this is Jalen Rose right here. Look at the way he dribbles the ball. Look at how he lobs the Chris. Just different understandings. But I think that a lot of people are so
Ego.
yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that, but I think it's everybody should, you could be the king of your village, but you could also be a servant leader amongst the bigger village.
Correct.
So like with me, I'm just kind of like, that's why I kind of, when I started my own team, I just kind of wanted to do things my way and just kind of like, look, we're going to be about the kids. I'm going to market. I mean, if you go on Twitter right now, you can look back posts from 2016, me talking about somebody getting 20 points in a game at, at Mall's tournament or something like that, because it's about the kids. But the opportunities are less for the kids that are not the upper echelon. The upper echelon kids, they may get an opportunity to leave the state and go play for an AAU team, and they get a beautiful opportunity there. And they have some good AAU teams here as well. But think about the kid that's the second best player on his high school team, and we go back to what we were talking about earlier, and he's ranked 30th in the state, and he might not be able to afford training.
Yep.
His mom may be in a situation to where they live in check to check.
Right.
So me as a trainer, I have to look into each situation differently, but then I also have to try to help that kid maximize what he has.
Right.
So when it comes down to the come down, man, like I just think that we just need to work together more, and it would benefit more kids. Like, man, we're probably bringing in, like I was telling y'all earlier, we're probably bringing in about 8 or 9 guys. Okay, so we're bringing in 8 or 9 guys, but you're looking in a metro area, they have a few hundred kids.
Right. That won't get the opportunity.
But if a JUCO coach calls me in Mississippi, I'm gonna refer that kid, even though we might play them, because it's not up to me to, you know what I mean? Like, this is my circle. That's the end all. Like, I'm trying to get everybody. Man. I've gotten calls from like different high schools. I mean, different colleges, and they'll ask me like Rory, what you think about that guy? It might be somebody I'm recruiting, but I'd be like, man, I love his game. Is he an NAIA player? He is, but he wants to go Division I. So either he comes to you right now, coach, or he come by me for 1 year, and I try to make it happen for him, for his dream. But he still can be a great player for you after year 1. And we've had that with certain coaches. And so it's just about giving these kids opportunity, man. Like we've all, like all 4 of us have been given an opportunity at some point. We've all been given opportunities. Now think about a 17, 18-year-old kid. Like they don't even understand, they don't grasp the fact of that reality. So we need to make sure that they have a chance to fulfill their dream. And if they don't, guess what? They still got the opportunity to do so.
They got a chance.
Yeah.
Right. There's no regret.
How was it?
How was it? Ready to wrap up.
Yeah. How was it playing on that Brother Martin team in high school with somebody like D.J. Augustin and Corey Bloom and them guys, and the success that y'all had, and that aura, that prestige that y'all had back then, man. Everybody was coming to watch the show.
Yeah.
And what did you learn from being around a group like that, and how has that helped you, navigate whether it's training or coaching or even recruiting in today's basketball world?
Man, that was some of some of the best times, man, being around those guys. They're all my brothers, man. Like next year is actually going to be our anniversary. It's gonna be our 20th anniversary, so we all getting together, man. I talked to Bloom, man. Bloom is doing great things. I talked to Brock. I talked to all those guys. Like we'll chat a little bit throughout the year. Courtney Wallace, he came to my open runs last year.
What
man.
about Big
And,
Adam?
Man, Kraus was at
He went to Michigan.
He was at Michigan. I think he's married. He's got kids now.
Come
and,
on,
you know,
man.
yeah, bro. So it's
They're all growing up now.
everybody, man. That
You still in contact with DJ?
Oh yeah, man. I spoke with DJ maybe about 2 weeks ago, man. I just told him that I was proud of him. I told him that he's inspired so many kids from the area just being able to fulfill that
Yeah.
dream.
And the
Because
longevity.
Longevity,
Oh, man,
longevity
absolutely.
being in the NBA.
he's a journeyman.
The ultimate pro.
He's he's exactly G. He's the ultimate pro, and he's kind of like the foundation moving forward because I speak his name to the kids that I train, and they're like, "Coach, you can't guard me." I'm like, "Son, I guarded DJ Augustin every day at practice." You not DJ Augustin, you know. Ain't no offense,
Right,
But
right.
every single day, that taught me to understand how to like not so much pressure, but how to deal with, and even from his point of view, like how to guard and how to understand basketball. Because, man, like
was
first
tough.
five, second five, bro, it was like battles every single day. It was like everybody contributed to winning because everybody knew their role. From the guy that was at the top of the totem pole, the guy that was at the bottom. The guy that was at the bottom was his job was to guard DJ. Or his job was to get on Rock. You know, we call Brock, we call him Rock because Ryan Brock, you know, that's our guy, man. But and Bloom, like great shooter. Like we had guys that would just have to pressure him. And just understanding that, man. And we had Coach John Levy, Coach Bill Gallagher, Coach Thompson. Those three guys were meant. I felt like they were meant, like their whole journey guided them to those years. Because we couldn't have had a better group to coach and to maintain so many different personalities, so many different kids from so many different places, and just put it all together, man. But those times were really memorable.
Y'all won
man.
2 state championships or one?
We won one when I was there. That was in 04. They won.
That was against Thibodeau.
No, that was
04.
against excuse me, St. Aug.
And then you beat Thibodeau the next year.
Beat Thibodeau the
You
next
was gone.
year. Yes, sir.
Y'all first year, I remember y'all made it. Y'all lost to Woodlawn.
Woodlawn was number what?
Kentrell Gransberry
my
and Darnell
God.
Lazar, all them boys.
Oh my God, man.
Y'all was like a Cinderella story that year. You
Yeah,
upset at Tasman Mitchell.
Oh man,
I was at that
man,
game.
man.
I was at that game.
bro.
Yeah, that's
was
when
crazy.
that's when it started.
Yeah,
Like, who is DJ Augustin? Who is Corey Bloom? Who is this Brother Martin team? Like, that's when it all started, and it's like, I wish we could have seen him play a senior year.
oh man,
And Brother
but
Martin before the storm.
I heard things though. I knew guys in Texas, and they were telling me, they're like, man, DJ is out here killing, and I wouldn't expect anything less, man. That dude, if you were to see him at that age, he was so mature at a young age, and he didn't have to take over a game, but he knew when. There's not many guys that I've been around, or guys that I've known, or guys that I've seen play that can just flip that light switch on. And at that point, like DJ would take over a game in a second. But he was the most unselfish player because he cared about everybody else success. He cared about team success.
Was he always that good? Like, even coming up?
Yeah. I remember I was playing for Biddy basketball team was the Hawks, man. We were like kids from all over the
Biddy
city,
basketball.
man.
Well, hold on, what
And,
Hawks?
it's New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, we heard about him, and I was like, and I remember, I think this was might have been Coach Thompson. He was like, man, we got this kid coming in, and we thought he was going to St. Aug. Like, everybody thought DJ was going to St. Aug. He came by us, man, and I think he was an 8th grader, and he had like 30-something points in like a 9th grade game. We were like, bro, you don't score 30-something points. I don't care what level
Right.
you're at. You could be playing from Biddy to the pro level. You score 30-something points in a game, you're a good player.
Right. Especially when you not 6'4", 6'5",
Yeah.
jumping out the gym. He was
Yeah.
like, what, 6'1", 6'1.5", 6'1"?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was like, unconventional to see a kid at that size dominate the way he did.
Yeah. He's the ultimate pro, like you said, man. He's just at a young age, he understood I'm going to go to the NBA. I remember Roy Williams was recruiting him, and I think he was recruiting him and Ty Lawson. I think Ty Lawson ended up going to North Carolina. And I thought it was so great that DJ went to Texas because I remember watching him. I'm like, who's that skinny kid that he's playing with? It's Kevin Durant.
Right.
Durant.
He averaged
him
what?
and KD were at Texas together.
DJ averaged like 7-8 assists that year.
Mm-hmm.
Then he came. Durant left for the league.
Durant left.
Came back. DJ and him lost to
That's when he had
Memphis.
that's when he had PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost to Memphis. That was the Derrick Rose team.
Yeah.
Yep.
John Dorsey and Chris Douglas.
DJ was averaging like 18 and like 5. And think about how high he got drafted in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, man. That's just unprecedented.
Because
man. It's
he's
just
at that size, they usually want you super athletic.
yeah.
And he wasn't. He was like very unconventional. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it was very impressive to see.
DJ what 13, 14 over to the
Yeah,
Bobcats
yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't sign some nice contracts. He's been in the league.
Yeah.
Put a bug in his ear, man, so we get him on the podcast when he come back to the city, man. Put
Right.
a bug in his ear
Okay.
for him, man.
Okay.
Before we go though, man, we got to do Rory's favorite. Here we go. Rory's favorite. Favorite shoe of all time.
Jeez. 11s. Jordan 11s.
Gotcha. Favorite player.
12, man.
Favorite player of all time, whether it's college, high school, NBA, it don't matter.
Gary Payton. Same birthday.
The glove.
glove.
The goddamn glove.
Love the glove, man. I
goddamn
love 96 when him and
You got a top 10.
Camp.
You got
Yeah.
you got
Come
him
on, man.
at the top 10
Shrimp.
point guard of all
Come on,
time.
man. Top who?
You got him at the top 10 point guard of all time.
Oh, of course. I think so. But I'm gonna tell you though, people think that winning the championship is
The end all, be all.
solidifies. Yeah,
Correct,
solidifies you.
It
But
don't.
man,
John Stockton ain't got none.
right.
Gotcha. Favorite coach of all time, no matter what level.
Favorite coach of all time. Jeez, Tubby Smith, Kentucky.
Okay.
Oh, I like Tubby. I like Tubby. Okay. Favorite movie of all time.
Jeez. I'm a movie fanatic, man.
I'm about to judge whatever you say. I'm like, you know right now.
Man,
It's coming.
jeez, it's just this is a great question. Damn, this is a great question. I've never been asked this, and there's so many movies that I love, and I don't want to say yeah.
Going through your head. I do it.
Man, jeez,
Is it a basketball movie?
not necessarily, man.
Is it a comedy?
I would say like I like so much stuff, bro. Like I like I like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Hey, ain't
I
nothing wrong
like
with that.
Jurassic Park, all those like. So it'd probably be something along the lines of that, man. I'm like a real movie watcher. Like if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be into film or into something like like that, man. Absolutely, I love it, man.
Gotcha. Oh, favorite rapper of all time.
If I had my phone on me, I would probably play "The Mob" by Lil Wayne because I listen to that every game before every game.
That's my
It's a classic.
that's my go-to when I walk around the field.
It's the top. It's the
That was
top.
on Carter 2.
Carter 2, baby.
Yes.
Carter 2.
It's the
Carter
top
2, baby.
5 rap song of all time, and it doesn't have a hook. But you could just tell that's when he was kicking through the door and letting
He was
everybody know,
ascending.
like, yes,
I'm here.
yes,
05, baby. Oh, Lord.
yes.
Carter.
Gotcha, man. Appreciate you coming on the FanView podcast, man. I know big things coming your way. Keep elevating and keep pointing to those kids, man. And God gonna keep on blessing you on the back end, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the FanView podcast. Make sure y'all subscribe to the G Sports page.
Absolutely.
Like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Comment.
And G, tell them who we sponsored by today, baby.
Sponsored by G Sports, baby.
G Sports, man, all day.
Y'all see the elevate.
We
We
elevate, man.
We elevate,
Elevating all
baby.
day.
Sponsored by G Sports, man. FanView podcast. Man, listen. We going to sign out. Listen, I'm that boy Fred.
G Sports.
Coach Hurricane here.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Thank y'all. Subscribe, like, comment, share with a friend. Till next time. Y'all already know what it is. FanView podcast.